You've unlocked a Roundtable.
Hello, and welcome to Lost Levels Roundtable discussion of Ghostbusters
2016.
2016.
Not to confuse with the old one in the 80s.
That is Alex Sandberg. My name is Chris Levon.
Hi.
And we watched the Ghostbusters movie.
The Ghostbusters movie.
2016.
2016. Need to make that stipulation still.
Based on actual events that happened in 1984.
Yes.
So this is a retelling of those events. They completely changed it around. This time they made the Ghostbusters.
Whoa. Before we go into that, we have to let them know there's going to be spoilers. Or this part is spoiler free.
Okay.
This part's spoiler free. No spoilers.
Yeah. Spoiler free review at the beginning. Then we'll go into our credits. And then hang on after the credits for our special spoiler filled section where we get into the nitty gritty spoilers of this movie.
Yeah.
Yay!
Okay.
That being said, female Ghostbusters.
Right. Okay.
Are you okay with that?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that didn't make a difference to me whatsoever. The studio wants you to think that that's a reason why everybody doesn't like this movie. Or didn't like the trailer. I guess let's start there.
That's I mean...
The first trailer for the Ghostbusters movie came out in a few months ago. And it became the most hated movie trailer on YouTube of all time.
Like a fact?
Like, yeah, that was the hated movie trailer of all time on YouTube. So, Sony had to do damage control and try to spin a lot of that using feminism as people disliking this movie. They just don't like it because they're girl Ghostbusters.
No, I mean, I'm not so naive to believe that there isn't the scourge of the internet that hate the movie for that reason, but I feel like that's a smaller select group than people make it out to be.
And I think Sony was actually trying to plant people in the comments sections and removing certain comments and leaving the feminism ones there, so it looked like it was just a straight feminist hate for this movie, which is not. As Alice kind of touched on, maybe partially true, but not to the extent of, hey, we just made a bad movie. They don't want to admit that, so they have to try to find a spin any way they possibly can to salvage this thing.
There is the simultaneous news of them going to do large reshoots as well.
Yeah, so there's large reshoots. There's this going on. So, yeah, there was a lot of problems with this movie, obviously, and the history of it is actually pretty phenomenal. So, all you would have to do is just do a simple search on YouTube, and there's a lot of different various conversations about the pre-production of this movie, the production of this movie, and the script. Those actually turned out to be really true in regards to the script, because everything they talked about like a year ago regarding the script of this, watching this movie, I'm like, oh, well, that was in the script leak. That wasn't, like, it is the script. It was the actual script that actually leaked.
I didn't read any of those leaks.
Yeah, so it was really interesting to see, like, oh, wow, they actually did all this. And then I leaned over to Alex as the credits rolled. I'm like, oh, thank God they cut that scene. So then, yeah, I'll get into that in the spoiler section a little bit. But, okay, so this is not a retelling. Oh, I guess it's a retelling.
I don't...
a reboot.
It's a reboot. I think it does exist in a universe where the original Ghostbusters did not exist.
Yeah, so then essentially it's a reboot.
I guess. I mean, I feel like there's a line that kind of alludes to it, but we could probably get into that a little later.
I don't think there was.
I think that'll be more geared towards the spoiler section, but regardless.
All right. So your basic, on the surface thoughts of the Ghostbusters.
See, for me, this is kind of something I've been struggling with. Part of me wants to... I feel like I shouldn't compare it to the original just because this is a new movie, new cast, new production, and everything. So I shouldn't, but at the same time, it's taken that source material, so I feel at the same time obligated to. So if you're going to this movie looking for something like the original Ghostbusters, you're not going to get that from this. Because just the humor and the production, all the production around it is very different from the original, and nowhere near captures that type of charm.
Yeah, and I think that's a good starting point there, where Many of these Hollywood remakes that we're getting feel shallow, and part of the reason the original movies were very successful was they kind of caught like lightning on a bottle in terms of they had a great cast that all were they all gelled together.
Mm-hmm.
And really kind of captured magic with themselves.
Great chemistry amongst them.
Right.
Like with Mike and Dave need wedding dates.
Yes. Like there's just great chemistry there. So it's like catching those like lightning that lightning in a bottle, so to speak. And then now 30 years later, you're trying to remake these movies and they feel generic shells of what the originals were because they don't have that same chemistry. They feel like production line remakes.
Because it did feel very much like, okay, what female comedians are hot in Hollywood? Oh, okay, we got Kristen Wiig, and then we have Melissa McCarthy, and you have these two up and coming comedians who do SNL stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, yes, they're all good in their own respects, but that doesn't make for a tight cast.
No.
A tight ensemble cast, rather.
Yeah, I mean, do they blend together? I don't think
so, and that's just based on a lot of the shots. I mean, granted, like we mentioned earlier, this movie did go through a lot of reshoots, but I saw a lot of the gags, a lot of the jokes. It was just one person on screen looking at somebody else doing something and reacting to that through just their dialogue alone.
Kind of like muttering it to themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And everything felt very just disjointed because of that. And it just didn't feel natural.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. And a lot of those jokes that they wanted to hit didn't hit. They didn't hit at all. Mm-hmm. They were really flat.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that you see in the trailers is probably some of the best stuff that's in this movie, unfortunately.
And it's fortunately the stuff that I did find myself laughing at was not from the main cast at all. I mean,
really, who made you laugh?
Chris Hemsworth.
Okay,
I thought he made me laugh, and at the very beginning, the guy from Silicon Valley.
Okay,
He had a couple lines in there that made me chuckle.
No. Yeah. So smaller bit parts. But
yeah.
Where you have these top comedians not being able to pull those jokes off, and the characters themselves just did not feel. I don't know. They did.
I liked, and I think some of Kate McKinnon's stuff made me laugh as well.
I think Kate McKinnon is the strongest one out of this cast.
Yeah, and I struggled with that character the most because while yes, it was funny. Very one-note character.
Oh Jesus, she was horribly one-note.
It felt just like her character felt like one long SNL skit.
Her and the African American woman.
Yeah,
I was unable to really get into her because she just felt like a walking stereotype. She felt like what white execs in Hollywood feel a African American woman would be saying. And that's how they wrote the dialogue, to make it as stereotypical as possible.
Leslie Jones. Was the character's name? It was. Oh no, I mean that's the actress's name. Yeah.
And it was just not funny. It didn't. It made me cringe more than anything. I'm like, aren't we beyond this Hollywood?
Right, and you know what? That's the weird thing is they tried to give her character depth as well by having, and when you first meet her, she gives you information about the history of New York and, what this building used to be or with that. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like that they're doing this, that I feel like that's going to play a big role and going to be very important for her character and the whole cast. But they never revisit it.
No, they just wanted to give her something to do aside from being a walking stereotype. Oh, she works as a subway person.
Yeah, she works for the subway.
Why couldn't she have been one of the scientists? Mix it up, Hollywood. You didn't need these two, all three of the other women to be significantly smarter than her, and then she kind of just walks in. It's like, okay, you're doing a reimage of Ghostbusters. You're making an all female cast. Why don't you take it up a notch?
Yes,
and then not make Winston again.
Oh yeah.
give him a different role. Make him one of the scientists this time.
Right, because that's what the first one is. 3 white scientists and an African American guy that just kind of walked in off the street and started working for them.
Right. So we had.
So I mean, if you're going on the gamut of PC correctness and all that, go whole hog.
Yeah, change it up. I don't know. It's frustrating because, yeah, I did grow up with Ghostbusters, and at the same time, as you kind of touched on right at the very beginning, I'm trying to separate this movie from the original Ghostbusters, and I'm doing my best to try to do that. The problem with this movie is it's just not funny. It feels like it's more of an updated version, trying to address some of the PC concepts of today's society versus our society back then.
Which is fine, because that should have no bearing against the actual script.
And it has better CG.
Yeah, I did like the designs of the ghosts. I thought they were pretty neat. Maybe a little too glowy and neon to make them scary, but I mean, this isn't supposed to be scary, so I'm not sure if that's a big issue for me.
It was more supposed to be just vibrant colors that we didn't have that color palette back in 1984.
Yeah.
So they want to try to update it. And then there was some interesting shots, but at the same time, it's just, that's all it felt like. It felt like, all right, let's make a visual update of Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
And work around that.
And have these cool new ghost busting devices as well that we're going to have a montage of.
Instead of the proton packs?
Yeah, then use briefly in the 2 to 3 minute scene.
Yeah. Dohinder from Deadpool makes a cameo as the Chinese food delivery person. The cab driver.
Okay, I was trying to figure out why that guy looked familiar for me.
Yeah, he was the cab driver in Deadpool.
Okay, you know what? That was a humorous ongoing bit. It wasn't laugh out loud, but it was humorous, and I appreciated what little they did with that.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't care about it either way.
Right,
I didn't have a positive or a negative towards it. I know that I mentioned some of the early script leaks. A lot of people really picked on that, one of those aspects, like her addiction to Chinese food, and they're above a Chinese food place and all this stuff. But I didn't care. It didn't matter to me.
Yeah, I love Chinese food. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, it was just a small little plot point that was there.
Okay.
I didn't have a good time with it overall. I just didn't. I wanted to. I really wanted to. I was like,
yeah, I know.
I was looking at the critic reviews before this, before we watched it, and I was watching the fan reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and critic reviews right now is 3 out of 4 critics enjoy this movie.
Okay.
And I don't see that. If somebody
critics like Paul Feig, dude, for whatever reason. I mean, Spy was getting good reviews, and we did not like that at all either.
That's true. Well, no, we enjoyed parts of Spy. We didn't hate Spy.
Well, I don't think I hated this either. I don't think I'd go that far, but it just.
I thought Spy was a better movie than this.
Really?
I think I enjoyed Spy more than this. Jason Statham alone.
Oh shit! I forgot about it. Yeah.
Jason Statham alone saved that movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was a stronger movie than this one.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I think they're kind of the same level for me. Jason Statham's character did kind of save it for me, but I mean this, I feel like Chris Hemsworth's character kind of saved it for me.
See, I thought he was way too over the top and stupid. I thought that
well, I mean,
there's
okay.
There's the dumb character, and then there's the
yeah, because it's like Jason Statham's character dumb, but turned up to 11 almost.
Yeah, like his character would be bumbling, even though he's like this huge badass and just couldn't get it right. This one was just like, hey, you're dumb as shit, and you're gonna play this dumb as shit.
Right.
Like there's no like redemption at the end of this movie for this person to do the right thing. It's just he is the token stupid ass character.
You're right. I mean, Jason Statham was dumb musclehead. Chris Hemsworth is dumb pretty boy, which I think just comes off as dumber because people give him a pass for being pretty.
Yeah. Now we're comparing two different stupid people in a Kevin Feige movie,
Or
or
Paul
Paul
Feig.
Feig movie.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, it's just what the fuck, man. His character annoyed the piss out of me. He would have annoyed the piss out of me further had they kept an original scene in there. But I think after audiences really hated that scene, they took it out. Again, I'll talk about that more in the spoiler section. But yeah, it's not a really well put together movie. It's just
Even the plot, I feel like the plot doesn't really go anywhere.
yeah. The main villain was dumb.
Uh-huh.
I didn't care about him at all. He just they wanted to emphasize how creepy he is by every time someone sees him or says something about him. It's like, oh, that guy is weird or he's creepy.
Yeah, and he wasn't. I kind of felt he had a vibe of what was his name from Ghostbusters 2.
Rick Moranis?
No, the art gallery guy.
Oh, Vigo.
No, Vigo's the
Yeah,
Vigo
but the guy the curator there.
Yeah, he kind of had that vibe. I think just mainly because he had that look with the hair and everything.
I like that character better.
Yeah, and I was going to say they're trying to go for that, but I just didn't quite pull it off.
Yeah, no, you're right. He just at the end of the day, for him being the main villain, it was just bad. It's like it's dumb.
But like, I mean, just even at the beginning, you have the animosity between the two that gets resolved very easily and quickly, and just felt like it had no place being there to begin with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's true.
It is just quickly resolved. Like, okay, we move past it. We're done. Whatever.
Let's do this. We saw a real ghost. Our lives are not worthless anymore.
Right.
And we're going to carry on with that. I just hated some of the slapstick humor that they tried to input into it too. Like when one of the Ghostbusters gets possessed, it's in the trailer.
Oh yeah.
And you have the woman slapping her. That just was annoying. It didn't hit at all for me.
Hit. I get it.
Yeah, that's bad. But then the other part of that too was when they were in the trailer, when they were at the concert.
Yeah.
The stuff that they were saying, and the stuff, especially that the what's her name again?
Leslie Jones.
Leslie Jones's character was saying was just so stereotyped and so just ridiculous that it didn't even make sense. The part of it.
Yeah, you're talking about the stage dive.
Yeah,
right?
they do a stage dive. One of the Ghostbusters stage dives right before her. A woman. She stage dives. No one catches her. So then she has to spout off. I don't know if this is a woman thing or
yeah.
Like it's like, well, one of your buddies just did a stage dive and they caught her.
And they didn't catch you. I guess it is because you're black.
Yeah. So it's shit like that. It's like.
Well, I mean, it's like.
It doesn't make fucking sense.
It didn't make any sense. I mean, outside of the fact that joke didn't make sense, the fact that she wasn't caught didn't make sense either. So it was like, well, what was the purpose of that?
Because they want to be racist. They want to be like, oh, it is a black thing.
I guess
this white audience did not want to catch the black woman.
Yes, because I mean, people who are into metal are so racist.
Yeah, and like, well, it's just.
Oh god, that just made me think of the. We'll get into that later.
Oh, no, get into it now.
No, I think, I don't know, it's a cameo, and I think cameos should be saved for spoilers, but...
Okay. Yeah, there are cameos from several members of the original Ghostbusters.
It wasn't the original member cameo.
Okay, of the original movie, should I say.
Yeah.
So there are cameos involved in this, so... Alright, what else do you want to say about it?
I don't know, I feel like we kind of touched on everything. I mean...
Oh, the soundtrack's atrocious.
Oh, I mean...
The Fall Out Boy song with Missy Elliott?
Yeah,
Holy balls.
Granted, I mean... Yes, we can talk about that, but that wasn't that prevalent in the movie. But it wasn't for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But granted, that was 30 seconds too much, but yeah, that song is awful.
That song is atrocious.
I mean, I've never liked Fall Out Boy, and that song is just everything I always hate about Fall Out Boy, encompassed in a fucking corporate shill.
Yeah, that is just the epitome of a corporate Fall Out Boy song, mixed in with some hip hop. to give it some.
Oh, of course, because we have to appeal to all demographics.
So we get a little bit hip hop in it, and they're riding around New York. Yeah. Sorry.
No, yeah, no, okay, yeah. The song's awful.
Visually, it looked fine.
Yeah, like I said, I like the design of the ghost for the most part.
Yeah, I didn't. You know what? I didn't care for.
So the set designs were good. I mean, the old mansion they went to at the beginning looked pretty nice and worn, like well decorated. Their headquarters, the alleyways, and all that. Really good set designing. I appreciated that.
And I did appreciate the first ghost, the way that she looked. I thought that looked.
Yeah.
I thought it looked really good. Like, oh man, the CGI has gotten better since 1984.
Well, yes. I mean, granted, that one was probably completely computer generated, while the original would be, a mixture of prosthetics and.
Oh, like the other ghost from the 1984.
Yeah.
Made a return in this movie, which I guess we'll get into the spoiler section.
Oh,
I don't want to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I feel like that was shown in the previews.
Was he?
Yeah, I feel like he was, but if he wasn't,
yeah. You say it first, though.
Slimer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he was in the previews.
Yeah. Well, Alex just spoiled that for the cast, so good job. No. And then
fuck, if you didn't think he was going to make an appearance, then
I
honestly...
I hated female Slimer.
Okay, now that's spoilers right there.
Whatever.
No, it's not.
That
was dumb.
That was just bad and dumb. And
that was total, like, shilling right there. That was total fan service. But the thing is, I don't feel like this is really for the fans, because this is nothing like the first two.
No, it doesn't capture any of the magic. It doesn't capture any of the feel of the Ghostbusters. It just feels like this generic Hollywood-produced mess of an idea that was made long ago in the 80s, because the 80s was a weird, special time for movies that had these movies that were more socially acceptable, like Ghostbusters or Gremlins or movies like that, where like you don't really make those movies nowadays that have like a little bit more to them than just a monster movie or a ghost movie.
I don't know.
This just feels like a generic shell of them, and it sucks. It bothers me. Like, how much have we bitched about reboots in the last year?
A lot. Because that's all it seems like it's coming up.
And it's frustrating, too, because I really want to like this movie. I honestly did. I was texting Alex a week before this came out. I'm like, dude, I'm actually kind of excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going into this with, like, not a hateful mind by any means. I'm going into this, like, I'm actually kind of stoked to see this.
Yes, because I don't want to waste my time on a movie that I'm going to dislike. Like, I want to go on a movie and enjoy myself and say, yes, I'm glad I saw that movie. It was worth my time. It was worth my money. I don't feel cheated out of anything after seeing this. Because, I mean, like we say all the time, this is our side gig. We don't do this. We're not making money off of this. We're spending our free time and our own money to see these movies and review them for you.
Yeah, Thanks for listening, by the way.
Thanks for listening, always. Thank you. But, I mean, I want to enjoy myself. I don't want this to feel like a second job. I want to do this and enjoy myself while doing it. And it just sucks when I see a movie that I want to enjoy and it's just not good.
Yeah, and that's why we have gaps sometimes in the weeks where it's just like there's movies, 3 movies come out every week, and then just if those 2 movies kind of don't appeal to us, we're like, we want to review it this week, and then we kind of pass on it.
Right.
And then we kind of pay attention to, like, some weeks there's 2 movies that we want to talk about, and it just depends. It's really about the movies that we want to see, or something that we feel like we can have a good conversation about that looks interesting to us. So that's when we go watch a movie like Midnight Special. Looked really interesting to us.
Right. And after hearing all the buzz about it, I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to go see this now because it's getting all that positive review.
Yeah, so until we start making money on this and are watching every single movie that comes out, Ghostbusters was one of those movies that hit my radar. I'm like, yeah, dude, I totally want to see this.
Mm-hmm.
I especially want to see it because of all the stuff that, like the script leak, the reshoots and everything. I'm like, all right, aside from the first trailer, which I am 100% agreement with the internet saying that was an atrocious trailer.
Yeah.
Them even trying to shoehorn 30 years ago, trying to confuse the audience with the original Ghostbusters, and trying to say, this is not a reboot necessarily. This is like, they made it confusing. Made a really bad trailer out of it. The trailers after that, I'm like, all right, this looks a lot better.
Right, I remember you saying that. I didn't see any of the other trailers.
Yeah, the other trailers, like, they step up their game. They looked a lot better. They were tighter. They showed some of the great visuals of the movie. I'm like, all right, I'm down with this. So I was stoked, and then we watched it, and then my stokedness dissipated, and I was left with sadness.
Oh,
sadness filled my heart.
That's always a disappointing turn of events.
Yeah, so I can't recommend this movie.
No, I mean, yeah, definitely don't go see it in the theaters. I mean, if Paul Feig's your thing and you do like Kirsten Wiig and Kane McCarthy and all of them, I mean, I guess they all have their moments in the nothing too substantial. So maybe if it's on Netflix, go ahead, give it a watch. Just don't expect too much of it. Don't expect the originals.
Yeah, don't really expect great chemistry between the characters.
Yeah, because
like Bridesmaids, a lot of those characters really worked well with each other.
Yeah,
and like that was really good chemistry on screen. This is the opposite of that.
Mm-hmm.
These four characters don't necessarily belong together. They don't work well with each other comically. And it just
professionally, right? Wasn't there some hubbub about difficulty on the set amongst some of them?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of problems on the set between the girls, and it doesn't show on screen. Like you can't pick out the girls like, oh, those two hate each other,
right?
But at the same time, the chemistry isn't there. That love and that magic isn't there, where they're creating something special, and that's obvious. But that being said, we didn't like this movie necessarily. We didn't care for it. I think that's obvious between the way that we've been talking about it for the last time. But it's just there were people in the audience laughing a lot, especially next to Alex.
Yeah,
there was a couple who were in on every joke.
Well, it was a mom and her son.
Yeah, they were really, really enjoing the jokes that fell flat for me.
The kid really seemed to like it.
Yeah, I mean,
but kids laugh at dumb things.
So, like, if you're like maybe if you're a Kevin Hart fan, and you like those types of dumb jokes, like the ride-along joke where he hits his head on the fan.
What feels that fan going on?
That joke, if that was funny to you, then this movie might have a good chance for you. You might enjoy this movie.
Maybe.
But I personally didn't find it very funny. I didn't find very many redeeming qualities enough for me to say, Lost Level listeners, go watch this movie.
Yeah.
I just can't say it.
Yeah. Oh, you can't say it and be confident and truthful behind it.
Yeah, unless Sony throws some bucks at my way, and then
that won't be truthful.
Yeah, but if they throw some bucks at my way, dude, this is the movie of the year.
Right.
But until they do that, listeners, don't watch this movie.
Yeah, okay.
Alex, how can we reach you?
You can follow me on Twitter. My name there is Alex Sandberg, AlexSanberg, or email me directly at the website, alex@lostlevel.com. Chris, what about you?
I'm on Twitter, twitter.com/calmintensity. I'm on Instagram as Chris is Calm. I appreciate the new followers. If you want to follow Lost Level, it's lostlevel.com is the main website. On that site, in the upper right-hand corner, you can go to all of our social media links. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. We'd really like some subscribers on YouTube. We'd appreciate that. We transfer all of these audio files and our podcasts over to the YouTube channel. So if you're at work, need something new to listen to, go to our YouTube channel. Check that out. And we'd really appreciate that as well. So thanks for listening, and hang on for spoilers.
Spoilers?
Spoilers! All right, where do you want to start? I want to start with the dance number.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
The dance number was originally in the script.
Right.
Where in the third act, Chris Helmsworth he takes over and possesses every cop in New York.
Yes.
And
Chris
everybody-
Hemsworth gets possessed by the bad guy's ghost.
Well, he knows. This is in the spoiler section.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so he as he possesses them, and you see it right away where he makes them all move into the John Travolta Saturday Night Fever pose.
Right.
But then it cuts. That was originally a dance number that they took out, but then they put it into the end credits scene. So as the credits are rolling, you actually see this dance number, and him controlling that audience. So I'm thankful beyond belief that movie was in there, because as I was watching this movie, I'm like, oh man, this is bad. I really hope they took out the dance number, and thankfully they did.
And then it was there at the end credits.
But no, that's fine. You know what? End credits, while the credits are rolling and I'm not really paying attention and I'm walking out that theater,
Yeah.
leave it in there. People can watch Chris Hemsworth gyrate, and the women will pay.
Swoon.
Yeah, they'll pay admission for that, because I mean, obviously he's an Adonis.
He is an Adonis.
But I didn't want that in the movie, and I'm thankfully that they didn't leave it in there, because they would have no place in the movie. It just feel awkward and weird.
Yeah, well, wow, this movie is awkward and weird.
But even more so if you throw a dance number out of nowhere. But yeah, that's the main thing that I wanted to touch on. What else is there?
The final form of the ghost I felt was super, like, overly meta.
Oh,
Where
being the Ghostbusters logo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was...
That is a lack of imagination from your art department.
And just the writing staff and everything, yeah.
Because, like, if you have somebody that's good at making monsters, like, Del Toro,
Mm-hmm. You could have a pretty fucking scary ghost.
you could have some cool looking shit.
But I mean, even if you think to the original with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, that's a funny conceit.
Right. Yeah, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man became a legend.
Right.
Because...
So much so that they shoehorned in a huge, like, parade balloon of him that attacked everybody.
Yeah.
Along with the other ones. And I don't know how you pop a balloon that big with just a pocket knife.
Because it was not just a balloon, it was a spiritual balloon.
Okay. So they go boom big?
They boom big.
They boom big.
Everybody knows that. I'm surprised you didn't know that.
I'm sorry. I don't know my ghost balloons well.
Yeah, it's alright. This is a class 5 apparition. But yeah.
I did find that dialogue kind of annoying after a while.
It was.
It was, yeah.
It was very annoying. But yeah. They tried to recreate that magic, speaking of the original Ghostbusters logo being the main villain. They tried to recreate that magic of Dan Aykroyd saying, I try to think of the sweetest, nicest thing. Something that's warm, something that's not scary.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And then perfect comedy ensues.
Right.
They tried to recreate that magic.
It just popped into my head. What popped into your head, right?
Yeah. Like, great stuff like that. That's the magic of Ghostbusters right freaking there. This does not have that magic.
Oh.
And then they tried to recreate that with, like, she tried to think of something not as scary, so she thought of their logo.
Mm.
And it's like, no, not the same.
It's not, because
No.
it's still a ghost, and it's...
You guys fucked that scene up. And then the cameos kind of...
yeah.
First off, they were forced into these cameos.
Fucking, you could tell Bill Murray was just phoning it in.
Bill Murray did not want to be in this movie at all, but I think he was contractually obligated. I think all of them were.
Oh, really? Because wasn't it originally supposed to be them?
Yeah, I mean, they were talking about Ghostbusters 3 forever.
Right.
And there was several times where it actually got into, I think, pre-production, a couple scenes. But then there was a hot and cold relationship with Bill Murray, always saying, all right, I'll be in it. All right, no, I'm not in it. All right, I'm in it. And then he was like, maybe I'll be a ghost or something. But there was never just that all four of them in agreement, like, let's do this. And the studio was always kind of cool to it, too. So they made them be in this movie to try to give this movie that nostalgia factor. And it was bad. Like you said, Bill Murray did not give a shit about that.
Yeah. Dan Aykroyd, you fucking never see that guy anymore, so it's just like, I don't even think the younger audience would recognize it as Dan Aykroyd.
I don't know about that.
It took me a while, like, okay.
Really?
It took me a couple seconds.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And he was a poorly lit cab,
I guess.
And, wearing a hat and everything.
Yeah, so he was.
And then you have the bust of Harold Ramis, which I'm like, at part of me is like, okay, pay homage to this comedian who was great during his time, great writer and everything, who sadly passed away. And on the other hand, after seeing all the other cameos, I'm like, that feels kind of cheap now.
Yeah, you know which one I really hated too was Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah,
I really did not like her cameo at all. I didn't.
It's so bad that they kind of put it during a credit scene.
Yeah, they threw that in at the credits. Because I didn't like that character. Her character. I didn't like the character that she was mentoring. I can't think of her name right now.
Kate McKinnon's character.
Kate McKinnon's character. I just didn't like her character very much. She was over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about her was over the top. Every movement she made, every dance move, every whatever the hell she was doing,
facial expression, all that
was just really over the top, and it felt like a caricature versus a character.
Yeah,
and that's what this movie kind of was, and it sucks. It pisses me off that I really wanted to like this movie.
Yeah. I mean, and going back to something we were talking about earlier, where I feel like this does exist in the same realm as the original one.
Yeah.
There was a scene between the mayor. That whole fucking dynamic between them and the mayor was dumb as well. It's like, oh, we don't want to let this get out. He says something like, oh, stuff like this has happened before, but the people quickly forget and we move on from it. So I feel like,
oh, he made references though of like just fake events that happen, like whole towns disappearing and all these weird phenomena.
Right, but I also feel like part of that was like a nod to like, oh, we had Ghostbusters before and everyone forgot about them.
Oh, see, no,
that just could be me misinterpreting that.
Yeah, I didn't get that one at all. And like Homeland Security was stupid. Like they had no point in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just the whole idea of the government want to keep it quiet, and it's just like, okay, whatever.
Well, I mean, that's an obvious thing. They want to try to keep it quiet. But
right.
There's a Men in Black way of doing things, and then there's this way of like... Dude, New York was just almost destroyed by ghosts. And you're just like, oh, everybody's on hallucinogens. Or whatever the hell they said. Yeah. It's just dumb. It doesn't make any sense. It's not funny either. That's the part of this movie that was the problem. It wasn't funny.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing clever about it. There was nothing good that was redeeming. Even the end scene, the third act, the action sucked. Like, it was just...
Right.
There's nothing there that I can point out aside from visuals. Like, alright, that was a cool visual.
Right, okay. Just overall disappointing.
And as much as I like Chris Hemsworth, I hated his character.
Okay. I enjoyed that character to a degree. But I can see how it can become too much. Because once again, it was very much like a caricature, but it was a small role, so I was okay with it.
You know what I'd like to have seen in this character, or as this character, but a toned down version, but the exact same version of the character was the dude in Ant-Man.
Oh, his buddy?
Yeah, his Ant-Man's buddy or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have liked to seen his type of character in this, because that was funny.
Right.
That worked. But like just seeing him that kind of level of stupid is a little bit more believable.
Right. I don't know. I just kind of like the sandwich bit towards the end. They're like, you were looking for us in the sandwich shop? It's like, yeah, so I got the sandwich. And she threw it away. He's like, no help, and somebody threw it back to him. I'm like, see, that's like the level of stupid pretty boy that I like, that he's dumb, but everyone's always kind of willing to help him out.
But he doesn't know what a phone is. Like, seriously?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a little much.
Or he took the lenses out of his glasses because they got dirty.
Right. Well, he you know, it's obviously he wanted to look smart or whatever, so he wore glasses. That was an aesthetic choice for him rather than a practical obligation. Was the glasses?
I don't think that's what it was implied. I think it was
Oh, no,
implied that
thought-
they just got dirty, so he took his glasses off.
Oh,
He took the lenses out,
see,
and he's too stupid to realize that he can't see.
I guess
So stupid. When he hears something, he closes his eyes. Or
right. Okay.
that shit was bad.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like
Okay.
overdoing it. Yes, I will give you the sandwich bit.
Thank you.
The sandwich bit was funny. Like, okay.
And
Good way to end.
And his drawing of a ghost with boobs.
Yes, his logos were clever. I don't know about the 7-Eleven one, but alright.
Yeah.
But other than that, those other slapsticky shit, that was just bad.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Hey, I think I could agree with you there.
Alright, we agree on something.
We agreed on a lot of things about this. I think.
I know. We have to stop agreeing on so much.
Oh, okay, fine.
Alright, what else we got here?
You're wrong about everything.
Okay.
Cool.
That didn't seem sincere.
It didn't. Okay. I think we're done.
We're done?
I think we're done.
Alright. Well, no shit. I feel like as soon as I hit the stop the record button, I'm going to remember something. I'm like, motherfucker. I forgot.
Okay. Well, that's
So
okay.
let's just sit here for 5 minutes with the audience and work this shit out.
The mayor. Anything about the bad guy you want to talk about?
No, because we talked about how stupid he was.
Um.
Nah, fuck it, we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Alright, talk to you guys later.
Bye.